welcome to Season 1, Episode number 42 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches of 2020 with match number 9 on our list, which is the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match between the champion, Kazuchika Okada, and the challenger, Kota Ibushi, from the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 14 Night 1, held on January the 4th. This was the first ever two-night Wrestle Kingdom. Because of that, New Japan established the double gold dash, which in a way, kind of felt like it overshadowed this match in a sense. This was supposed to be, Ibushi's kind of big moment to potentially win the title at Wrestle Kingdom after winning the G1. It didn't really feel that way because of knowing what the second night would bring, and knowing that Tetsuya Naito was there waiting in the wings for the winner here. That said, when this match initially happened on the 4th of January, I was blown away. I was so engaged by it. I was so enthralled by it. I was so hoping for Ibushi to win, so I was really, just engaged with him, winning the match, and the story that they told throughout it. If you asked me prior to doing this rewatch, project, which normally I wouldn't do, right? At the end of the year, I move on to the next year, right? I'm not going back and I'm not, rewatching all of my favorite matches throughout the year, like a lot of people do to establish these lists. If you just asked me point blank before I started this, what was your 2020 match of the year? I would have said this match. Now, as you can see, it ends up at number 9. That's for a couple of reasons. One, although this match is still absolutely incredible watching it back, it didn't quite have that same feel that it did watching it live, with me pulling for that Ibushi win, which really added to a lot of it. Also, some other matches that I might not have initially liked, as much as this one when they first happened, watching them again in a vacuum, they were better than this contest, in my opinion, right? That said, this match is still incredible. They do a really good job early on at, detailing the differences between these two wrestlers. Ibushi has the speed advantage. He hits a standing moonsault early. He has the strikes advantage. It's a brutal chest kick. And, Okada has to play that traditional heavyweight champion role and go to his wrestling moves, his traditional moves. Very early on, he's able to kind of take an advantage with a back elbow and a DDT, right? Just basic wrestling moves that Okada, obviously does so well. And that set the story of this dynamic challenger that will not be denied in his quest to take the title. And the champion that's been doing this thing a while now, man, trying to do whatever he could to hang on and keep the belt. They, again, very early on, they established that some risks that Ibushi is, trying to take, right, which is his style. He's a very, high risk wrestler, are not paying off for him. So he heads to the top rope and, Okada meets him up there with the drop kick, right, which sends him, falling down. Which allows Okada to take over. Ibushi tries a Pele kick, fairly early on in the match and almost brains himself on it, right? It was a very scary spot. So again, showing that he does these risks and they might not always pay off, but that he won't be denied. And what I mean by that is, Okada cut him off with the drop kick up the top, but, several minutes later, Okada goes for his signature, like shotgun drop kick, right? Like the John Woo, and Ibushi, was able to counter it with a double stomp. He leapt above the drop kick and came right down on Okada's chest with a double stomp. And, he, missed that Pele kick, that moonsault kick earlier, but, he pulls off the triangle moonsault, right? So, he's still going to take these risks. It's not going to change the way he wrestles because he knows that the way he wrestles will beat the way Okada wrestles. They do something, early on. Ibushi's got this, connection to Shinsuke Nakamura. They had a classic match at Wrestle Kingdom, several years ago. Okada was in Chaos with Nakamura. They had the kind of forbidden all Chaos final of the G1 the one year. So Ibushi, tries for the Bomaye, very early on. And Okada, cuts him off with the drop kick, right? So that drop kick is always Okada's bread and butter, right? That's what he goes to. That's how he takes advantages of the match, and this was no different. You know, Okada tries for the Rainmaker. Ibushi avoids it. You know, he absorbs Okada's strikes. You know, he absorbs the John Woo, which was just a great spot. Okada hits him with it, and he pops right back up. And Ibushi proceeded to beat the absolute crap out of Okada at that point. Just stiff kicks and slaps and just straight up punches. It left Okada with a nasty shiner coming out of it. There's a point where, you know, Red Shoes, the referee, just seems completely concerned as Okada, you know, cowers in fear in the corner while Ibushi just beats him up. And, you know, the referee tries to pull him off. Again, it just established that, you know, Ibushi is this force that wants to win the IWGP Heavyweight title, and Okada might not have the answer for him. That said, though, right, like I said, Ibushi is kind of stubborn in a way. He's got his style, you know, he's unapologetic about it, and that's what he's going to try to use to win. So he makes some critical mistakes. He tries his deadlift German suplex off the ropes, which is one of his signatures. Okada avoids it. They end up fighting on the apron. Ibushi goes for a lawn dart on the apron into the post, which would have just been, you know, absolutely crazy. But Okada is able to shift his weight and turn it into a disgusting tombstone pile driver on the ring apron. From there, Okada goes on a great run, hits all of his signature moves, you know, the flapjack, the elbow drop, all of his stuff that he would normally use, only able to get near falls off of them. They do a spot where Okada goes back for the Rainmaker. Ibushi avoids it, you know, hits a lariat of his own and hits the Bullmaye, you know, playing off that spot earlier. But Okada, you know, at this point shows that he's stubborn too and kicks out at one, right? They do a 1 count off of it. You know, Ibushi ends up hitting the Kamigoye. You think it might be the finish. Okada kicks out at 2. He goes for another one, and what does Okada do? He cuts him off and he counters it with the drop kick, right? So again, Ibushi has not learned how to avoid that drop kick, the Okada staple. There's just a disgusting head kick from Ibushi in this match, which is, you know, I have to point out because it was that disgusting. It was just absolutely nasty and kind of concerned me a little bit for you know, Okada's health after that. But bless his heart, he was able to keep going. They go up to the top, and Ibushi, you know, kind of running out of his tricks a little bit. He goes for a top rope Tiger Driver, which is a move. These guys actually had a match several years ago at the New Japan Anniversary show where Ibushi was under the role of Tiger Mask W, which was like some sort of a tie-in to a TV show at the time, I guess. And Ibushi used this avalanche Tiger Driver in this match. So he goes for it here. Okada kicks it off. You know, what else is new? Hits a missile drop kick. But, you know, finally, Ibushi has the counter for it, right? So his you know, avalanche Tiger Driver didn't work. Okada goes for this missile drop kick. He turns it into a power bomb, catches it mid-move. And, you know, knowing what, you know, he's kicked out of the Kamigoye. What else am I going to do? Ibushi goes up top and he goes for the Phoenix Splash, which would turn out to be a critical mistake. He crashes and he burns on it. Okada and Naito had a match at Wrestle Kingdom a couple of years ago where Naito made that same critical mistake. He couldn't beat Okada with all of his offense, so he went, you know, to the Stardust press, right, from his old, you know, Stardust Genius moniker. He hadn't used it in years, but he was desperate. He went for it. He missed, and it allowed Okada to put him away. And that's, you know, basically what happens here. The Phoenix is missed, right? Okada hits him with a Rainmaker. You know, throws another one in there, only gets 2. And from there, he just proceeds, you know, he hits 2 more short arm clotheslines. Ibushi's able to counter one, you know, with a head kick. Okada does fighting spirit. Ibushi, again, you know, doesn't really know what else he can do. Throws a V-trigger at him, you know, shout out to, you know, his golden lover, Kenny Omega. But it's all for naught because he goes for one more final Kamigoye. Okada catches the knee, counters him into basically a sheer drop tombstone, like almost more like a Michinoku driver, which up until that point I've never seen Okada bust that move out. He does that and hits one more Rainmaker for 3. At the time, I was incredibly disappointed by the result of this match. I really wanted Ibushi to win. His time would come, though, if you've seen Wrestle Kingdom 2021. You know, this match was absolutely phenomenal. Just the story that they told was so engaging. Like I said, you know, Ibushi trying whatever he could to wrestle the IWGP heavyweight title away from, you know, Okada, but ultimately, you know, going for his high risk offense, it not paying off, him not learning for his mistakes, getting hit with the drop kick over and over and over again, and it allowed Okada to put him away. And yes, it was disappointing, but again, watching this match several months later, you kind of see, you know, just how, you know, worthwhile the story was, and you know, the ride that it took you on, and really, you know, with how the match played out, it almost kind of was, you know, from just simply a story perspective, the right decision in that match. This match is absolutely incredible. Again, it, you know, fell a couple of spots from, you know, my initial live enjoyment and reaction I had to it, but it's still 100% worth your time. It's the 9th best match of 2020 in my opinion, and it's an absolute classic for the IWGP Heavyweight title and another Wrestle Kingdom classic from New Japan. You watch this match on New Japan World, of course. Please follow the channel here on YouTube, follow on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50, and join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down pro wrestling's top